My name is Ethan, and I want to tell you a story about how one coincidence turned my life upside down. No, this is not another tearful melodrama about unhappy love. Rather, it's a thriller with elements of black humor and a pinch of madness. However, judge for yourself. I work as a programmer in a large IT company, and my schedule is quite flexible. Sometimes I can afford to work from home, especially when I need to focus on a complex project. So on that fateful day, I decided to stay in my office longer while my wife Lauren was at work. We had been married for just over a year, and I considered our marriage to be picture perfect. Yeah, right. Closer to the evening, a colleague called me and said that there were some issues with the work server. I needed to urgently go to the office. Cursing, I hastily threw my things into a backpack, jumped into the car, and rushed to the city, mentally calculating how long I would last before passing out from lack of sleep right on the keyboard. Fortunately, or not, the problem was solved fairly quickly. I glanced at the clock. It wasn't even 8 yet. I could leisurely drive home, take a shower, and crash. Lauren had been staying late often recently, so I wasn't particularly surprised not to find her at home. I put dinner in to reheat, turned on the TV, and then I heard some noise from the bedroom. My heart skipped a beat. The thought flashed through my mind. Maybe Lauren was already back? Why didn't she call? I tiptoed to the bedroom door and carefully peeked inside, and froze, not believing my eyes. On our bed, surrounded by scattered clothes, passionately engaged in dirty deeds, erratically moving bodies, slaps of skin on skin, muffled moans. It was like in some surreal movie, and I also recognized one of the tattoos on the woman's back because I'd gotten that tattoo together with Lauren 2 years ago on our first joint trip to Miami. I stood there numb, unable to move. Only one thought was spinning in my head. How is this possible? My Lauren, my faithful, loving wife, cheating on me in our own bed. How could she? From confusion and shock, I didn't even immediately realize that I should make my presence known. I tried to come up with some caustic, devastating phrase, but it was as if a lump got stuck in my throat. Only when the lovers moaned especially loudly did I come to my senses, and quietly closed the door, stepping back. No, I wasn't going to make a scene or have it out. At that moment, I felt so sick that I just wanted to disappear, dissolve into thin air, merge with the void that my soul had turned into. But instead, I automatically grabbed the car keys and left the house, carefully closing the door behind me. I got behind the wheel, started the engine, and realized that I had no idea where to go. To friends? Parents? To a bar to get drunk into oblivion? Everything seemed equally meaningless. So I just drove around the night streets, mindlessly staring at the road and trying to comprehend that my former life had collapsed overnight. And in my head, like a stuck record, the same question kept spinning. What to do now? Forgive and pretend nothing happened? Throw an ugly scene, pack my things and slam the door? Or get revenge? Make Lauren feel at least a fraction of the pain that I was experiencing now? And the more I thought about it, the more tempting the idea of revenge seemed. After all, who said that I should suffer alone? If I'm destined to sink to the bottom of despair, then I'll drag Lauren down with me. For better or worse, in sickness and in health, right, dear? For the next few days, I pretended that everything was fine. Smiled, kissed Lauren on the cheek before leaving for work, asked how her day went, and in the meantime, I feverishly pondered a plan for revenge. At first, all sorts of craziness popped into my head. Hire a private detective to catch Lauren cheating and present the dirt during the divorce. Slip laxatives into her food before an important meeting. Infect her computer with a virus that would send porn to all her contacts. Damn, I even considered whether to deal with this issue by force. Good thing I came to my senses in time. No, my revenge had to be elegant, thin as a razor's edge, so that Lauren wouldn't even guess who was behind all her misadventures until it was too late. And for this, I needed to act very carefully and thoughtfully. First, I hacked her email and social media. As an experienced IT guy, I knew many ways to gain access to other people's accounts while remaining undetected. Thank you, dear, for using the same password everywhere. Our wedding date, imagine that. How cute and predictable. Digging through her correspondence, I found out a lot of interesting things. It turns out that Lauren had not one lover, but 3. And she was spinning them even before our wedding. What a twist, huh? And I, naively, considered her faithful and honest. Just an exemplary wife, nothing to say. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. I discovered that Lauren often complained to her friends about our married life. Like I'm boring, unromantic, always missing at work. Ethan is a good guy, but there's no spark with him anymore, you know? I need emotions, passion, not this dreary routine, she wrote. What an ungrateful bitch. And then it hit me. I knew how to make Lauren suffer without resorting to outright blackmail. I just needed to destroy her perfect little world, tarnish her reputation, bring in a little chaos. And then, when she was in despair, present her with the main surprise. Oh, it would be unforgettable. To begin with, I took on the role of her secretary. I started tracking all business meetings and negotiations, marking important dates on the calendar. And then, a couple of days before the event, I would send clarification letters on her behalf. Like, the meeting is being rescheduled to another time or place. Unforeseen circumstances have arisen, blah, blah, blah. Can you imagine people's reaction when they would come to a meeting and Lauren wouldn't show up? And then she would rush around, trying to justify herself, but it made her look even more unprofessional. It was especially satisfying when she managed to be late to her own presentation because I sent her the wrong address. For the next week, they called her the queen of traffic jams behind her back at the office. But that wasn't all. I decided to slightly tarnish her social image. I started sending messages to friends and acquaintances on her behalf with some ambiguous hints, jokes bordering on indecency. And then, as if by chance, I sent a couple of her nude photos, the same ones she used to send me, to a group chat. Oh, how much screaming and indignation there was. Girlfriends sarcastically wondered if Lauren had opened a side gig in the escort industry. Particularly close friends offered to keep her company for a certain fee. And some even crossed her off the guest list for a wedding. Like, it's not comme il faut, you know, to have such a wild thing as a bridesmaid. I watched Lauren's thrashing about and quietly gloated. She didn't understand what was happening, frantically trying to justify herself, but her reputation was rapidly going downhill. Everything was going according to plan. My wife was gradually losing friends, the respect of colleagues, and faith in herself. But it was too early to relax. I saved the most interesting for last. In my free time from sabotage, I dealt with finances. More precisely, Lauren's finances. For starters, I carefully tweaked her banking settings, canceled auto payments, changed notifications to a different email address. And then, as if by chance, I would throw all sorts of expensive trinkets on her credit card. Imagine Lauren's reaction when she started getting bills for several $1,000s for things she didn't buy. And when money started being deducted from the card for overdue payments, this had to be seen. She rushed to banks, argued with managers, tried to prove that it was a mistake. But all in vain. The traces led straight to her account. "Ethan, I'm having some financial problems," Lauren complained to me over dinner, nervously fiddling with a fork in her hand. "Can you imagine, the bank claims that I owe them a bunch of money? But I couldn't have spent that much, honestly. This is some kind of misunderstanding." I nodded sympathetically, stroked her hand, and offered to sort it out, but I could barely hold back a smirk. "If only you knew, dear. However, you'll find out soon enough. Be patient a little longer." The final chord of my plan sounded a couple of weeks later. I was sitting at work when Lauren called me. By her faltering voice, I realized that something serious had happened. "Ethan," she sobbed into the phone. "Ethan, I think I'm being watched. Or want to rob. I don't know. I just found an envelope in the mailbox with threats on it, and I'm scared to open it." I went cold. Has someone else decided to threaten my wife? Thanks, but I'll do without competitors in the revenge department. "Hush, honey, calm down," I mumbled, feverishly trying to figure out what to do. "I'm coming right now. We'll figure it out. Don't leave the house. Lock the doors, okay?" Lauren was breathlessly mumbling something incoherently into the phone. She seemed really scared. I tried to cheer her up and hurried to hang up. The last thing I needed was to get caught during a phone call with a frightened wife. Cursing, I jumped into the car and raced home. On the way, I was running through possible options in my head. Who could it be? Could it be one of Lauren's lovers deciding to play the jealous guy? Or one of her humiliated colleagues intent on revenge? Damn! I had been preparing for so long and carefully, thinking through every detail, And then suddenly, an unexpected guest. When I burst into our apartment, Lauren was sitting on the couch, hugging herself. A printed envelope was lying on the coffee table. I opened it and there were several photos inside. Damn it! The photos showed Lauren, in very unambiguous poses and situations. And not alone, but with a whole crowd of lovers. And judging by the dates in the corner of the pictures, some of them were taken even before our wedding. My eyes darkened. So my darling wasn't just cheating on me left and right, but also filming her exploits on camera? That's quite a scope. And to me, naive me, she was feeding lines about love till death do us part. Lauren was muttering something, grabbing my hands. I think she was even crying. But I didn't hear. There was a continuous ringing in my ears, and red spots flashed and went out before my eyes. I was shaking with rage, with a monstrous feeling of betrayal. "Ethan, I swear, it's not what you think," Lauren mumbled pleadingly, clinging to my sleeve. "Yes, I had affairs before you, but now I only love you. It's all in the past, believe me." "In the past?" I hissed through clenched teeth, throwing off her hand. "And what I saw in our bed a couple of weeks ago, is that also in the past? Or is it already the present, huh?" Lauren paled and sank onto the couch, soundlessly opening and closing her mouth. It seems it finally dawned on her that I was aware of her shenanigans, and judging by the doomed expression on her face, denying it was pointless. You knew," she croaked, crumpling the ill-fated photos in her hands. "God, Ethan, I didn't mean to. It means nothing, just stupidity, a mistake." I laughed hoarsely. "A mistake, then? Well, fancy that. From the outside, it looked like a very deliberate choice." "Lauren, let's be honest," I said, looking her straight in the eye. "I know everything. Your affairs, your lies, your infidelity, and you know what? It's time to put an end to this." My wife burst into tears, trying to say something, but I wasn't listening. I felt a kind of grim triumph, vindictive satisfaction. Here it is, the moment of truth. Lauren dug her own grave, and now I will dance on her bones. And by the way, about the photos, I added casually, picking up the ill-fated envelope, "I hope you liked the surprise. I thought, why should you alone admire your unearthly beauty? So I decided to share with some of your friends and colleagues. You know, to make them happy, so to speak." Lauren gasped convulsively, pressing her palms to her lips. Her eyes were filled with horror mixed with disbelief. It seemed she was beginning to realize the depth and sophistication of my revenge. You set this up?" she whispered, recoiling. "All these photos, rumors, problems at work and with money, it was all you?" I silently shrugged my shoulders, allowing my lips to stretch into a venomous smirk. Let her think what she wants. The main thing is the result is obvious. Lauren is cornered, crushed, destroyed, and I am celebrating a victory. "Well, you're a bastard," my wife breathed out, slowly shaking her head. "What a sick bastard you are, Ethan." "Glad you finally acknowledged it, dear," I spat out, throwing the envelope back on the table, "because that's exactly the kind of bastard you deserve, for all your sins and betrayals." Lauren suddenly stiffened, as if before a jump. Some kind of desperate, insane determination flashed in her eyes. I don't know what I expected. Pleas for forgiveness, attempts to justify herself, but definitely not what happened in the next second. My wife jumped up from the couch and slapped me across the face with a swing. And then another one and another. I was so dumbfounded that I didn't even immediately think to cover myself. And Lauren was pounding me in the face and shoulders, hoarsely shouting curses mixed with tears. "You damn, sick, sadist," she sobbed, raining a hail of blows on me. "You think I won't understand that you set it all up? Wanted to humiliate me, trample me? Damn you, you abnormal freak!" With difficulty, I twisted her arms, trying to dodge the enraged fury. My face was burning from the slaps, my breathing was ragged. Lauren was fighting back and screaming so frantically that it was time to call the orderlies. I had to shake her harder to calm her down at least a little. "What kind of creature are you?" I hissed, squeezing her wrists. "You spread your legs in front of every passerby and now you're playing the victim? You got what you deserved, you bitch, and don't you dare blame me for it." We froze, furiously drilling each other with our gazes. Lauren's chest was heaving heavily, angry tears streaming down her cheeks. I was breathing hoarsely, barely restraining myself from doing something stupid. Oh, how I wanted to! You have no idea! But I restrained myself, unclenched my hands, stepped back, took a deep breath, trying to pull myself together. "You know what, Lauren?" I said in a surprisingly calm voice. "It's time for us to end this farce. You're right. I'm a sick bastard, and you're a lying traitor, and together we definitely can't be happy." I put my hand into the inside pocket of my jacket and took out folded sheets of paper. Lauren frowned uncomprehendingly. "What is this?" "These, dear, are divorce papers," I helpfully explained, handing her the documents. "I've taken care of everything. You just have to sign, and you're free." My wife grabbed the papers with a shudder, ran her eyes over the lines. Then she raised absolutely confused, tear-filled eyes to me. Are you serious?" "You bet," I nodded. "Should have done this long ago, before one of us went crazy. So sign, and we'll go our separate ways." "You can even go to your lovers, I don't care." Lauren sniffled, but went to the table, and with a trembling hand put a sweeping signature on each sheet. Then she straightened up and looked at me, angrily, resentfully, but with some doomed resignation. "Well, that's it. Happy?" I took the papers, carefully folded them, and put them back in the inside pocket. Smirked. "Quite. You're free, Lauren. You can go all four ways, and I will try to forget this whole nightmare as soon as possible, and you along with it." I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe another outburst of rage, or at least a sarcastic parting shot. But Lauren just pursed her lips strangely and silently left the room. And a minute later, the front door slammed. I collapsed onto the couch and clutched my head in my hands. That's it. Finita la commedia. The end of my marriage, my hopes for a happy family life. And what now? Where to go from here? My heart was pounding like crazy. My thoughts were jumping like fleas on a hot skillet. I did it. I got my revenge. Destroyed someone else's life, exposed terrible secrets, tore apart sacred bonds. And I got some kind of grim, perverted pleasure from it. But then why does my soul feel so lousy? Why, instead of triumph, do I feel only emptiness and bitterness? Could it be that revenge really doesn't bring relief, but only eats away at you from the inside like rust? I chuckled glumly and leaned back on the couch. Outside the window, dusk was gathering. The room was gradually getting darker, and I sat there stupidly staring at one spot, feeling my heart slowly growing a crust of ice. Well, buddy, welcome to your new life, in which you are your own worst enemy and your worst nightmare. The divorce was finalized surprisingly quickly and without unnecessary red tape. Lauren didn't make a public scene or assert her rights. She took her things, some trinkets, and drove off to her parents in a neighboring state. Apparently, she decided to lie low and wait out the storm. Or maybe she just didn't care. Like I did, actually. My mission was accomplished. Justice prevailed. To hell with it all. Friends and acquaintances, of course, were surprised by such a sudden breakup. They asked about the reasons, sympathized, offered help. I brushed them off with general phrases. They say we didn't get along. We want to go our separate ways. I didn't let anyone into my soul. I joked it off. And to myself I gloated. If only you knew, guys, what a surprise I prepared for my dear wife. However, I wouldn't be surprised if the truth soon comes out. Too many people are already aware of Lauren's escapades. There were no particular problems with work either. I withdrew into myself, immersed myself in new projects. The bosses were only too happy about the increase in efficiency. Colleagues looked at each other in bewilderment. No one dared to pry with questions to the gloomy, sarcastic Ethan. Thank God. In the evenings, I would come to the empty apartment and sit on the couch for hours, mindlessly clicking the TV remote. There was some kind of viscous fog in my head. All thoughts and feelings seemed to be shrouded in a gray veil. Sometimes apathy would roll over me when I didn't want to do anything at all. And sometimes impotent rage, a dull, incessant pain from the betrayal. And the main thing is, I got my revenge. I got what I wanted. Didn't I? Lauren paid in full for her sins, experienced the whole range of suffering and humiliation. So why didn't the feeling that I also screwed up big time somewhere leave me? And first of all, in front of myself. I remembered our last fight. Lauren's distorted face, her desperate sobs mixed with curses. "You damn sick sadist," she screamed, pounding me with her little fists. And you know what? I suddenly agreed with her. What kind of person do you have to be to destroy the closest person to you with such sophisticated sadism? Even if they betrayed you, broke your heart, Is that a reason to stoop to petty, vile revenge? Yes, what Lauren did was terrible. Yes, she deserved punishment. But did it make me any better, happier, nobler? Like hell it did. I just got bogged down in the swamp of hatred and malice, lost myself. For what? To show what a cool alpha male I am, who can't be bothered to forgive offenses? Yes, Lauren did a terrible thing. Yes, she deserved punishment. But did I get any better from it? Happier? Nobler? Hell no! I just got stuck in a quagmire of hatred and malice, lost myself. For what? To show what a cool alpha male I am, who can't be bothered to forgive offenses? At some point, I couldn't take it anymore. One fine Saturday morning, I got in the car and drove wherever my eyes looked. I just raced down the highway, not choosing the road, trying to run away from myself, from the nasty, bitter taste in my mouth, from the cutting emptiness in my chest. I drove for several hours until I was completely exhausted, parked on the side of the road, got out to stretch my legs, looked around, and realized that I had no idea where I was. Endless fields stretched all around. Some farms could be seen in the distance. The middle of nowhere, in a word. I trudged forward, inhaling the fresh air and squinting in the sun. My head was surprisingly empty and light. For the first time in a long time, I felt something like peace or something. As if all my torments and fears had remained there in the city, 100 miles from here. I walked, not choosing the road, until I came across some old barn, pushed the creaky door, went inside. Inside it was gloomy, smelling of dust and hay. I looked around, sat down on some crate, and suddenly I felt myself shaking. At first I didn't even understand what was happening, but a second later it dawned on me. I was laughing like a madman, loudly, hysterically, to tears. I threw my head back and laughed, so much that the echoes scurried under the rotten roof boards. I don't know how long it lasted. Maybe a minute, maybe an hour. But when I finally quieted down, my soul felt light and calm, as if the steel shackles had fallen off, and a splinter that had been tormenting me for God knows how long had been pulled out of my chest. I took out my phone, scrolled through the list of contacts, found Lauren's number, still hadn't deleted it, imagine that, and resolutely pressed the call button. She didn't answer for a couple of rings, and then a wary voice came on the line. "Yes? It's me. Don't be afraid, nothing bad. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, Lauren." A long silence reigned on the other end. Then a convulsive sigh was heard. "Ethan, are you all right?" I laughed softly. For the first time in a long time, sincerely and from the heart. You know, as strange as it may seem, yes, right now, everything is perfectly fine, because I finally understood. I swallowed, choosing my words. How difficult it turned out to put my enlightenment into words. But I had to try. "Lauren, listen, I loved you very much, and when I found out about the affairs, it was as if I went crazy with pain. I decided that revenge was the only way out, that I would make you suffer the same way I suffered myself." I fell silent, looking out the dusty window of the barn. Dust motes were lazily circling behind the glass, crickets were chirping in the grass. But you know what? It didn't help me a damn bit. Yes, you got what you deserved, paid in full. But did it make me feel any better? No way. I only got bogged down in the swamp of hatred, lost myself. For what? To show what a cool alpha male I am who can't forgive offenses? I exhaled noisily, feeling tears running down my cheeks. For the first time in many years I was crying, not from pain or anger, but from relief, from a sudden rush of realization. In short, I just wanted to say that I forgive you, Lauren. You hurt me, it's true, but I'm good too. Instead of talking, figuring it out, I went into cave savagery. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but I could have just let go. Get divorced calmly with dignity. Maintain my self-respect and not turn into a certified maniac. They were silent on the other end of the wire. I even got scared for a moment that Lauren had hung up. But then I heard her quiet, faltering voice. "God, Ethan, I wanted to turn back time so many times, not to make those mistakes, to be honest with you and with myself. But how difficult it is to admit your own guilt. It's easier to blame someone else, to blame it all on circumstances." I smiled sadly. We're all good. We deserve each other. And we punished each other rightly. Not fatally, but for life. Okay, Lauren, let it go. What's done is done. The main thing is that we both learned a lesson, right? Now I understand. Any relationship is based on honesty, on the desire to understand, to forgive, to let go of resentments. Otherwise, everything turns into some kind of sick farce, into a war where there are no winners. You're right, Lauren replied softly. Absolutely right. You know, it seems to me that this is our chance to start a new life without lies, half-truths, vile stabs in the back. Let each go their own way, but maintain a human attitude towards each other. What do you think? I agree, I nodded, although Lauren couldn't see me. It's all in our hands. The main thing is to no longer miss the opportunity to correct mistakes, not to hide behind masks, but to be yourself. And damn it, to finally start living for real. She laughed, a little nervously but sincerely. For the first time in many months, I heard joy in her voice. You know what, Ethan? You did well. You were able to admit your guilt, ask for forgiveness. That's worth a lot. I'm learning little by little, I grinned. Better late than never, huh? That's true. Thank you for this call. You really helped me. To cleanse myself or something. To exhale, to let go. Now I can also start with a clean slate. That's great. Well, until next time? Until next time. Good luck, Ethan. Be happy. You deserve it. She hung up first, and I sat for a long time looking at the darkened phone screen. An amazing calmness was spreading in my soul, some kind of bright, poignant sadness, as if I had said goodbye not only to Lauren, but to my entire past life, with resentments, mistakes, stupid ambitions. I got up, brushed off my jeans, and walked out of the barn. The sun was blazing, endless fields stretched out in the distance. The sky was piercingly blue overhead. And for the first time in many years, I felt truly free. Free from fears, doubts, selfish desires, ready to accept life as it is, with all its lessons, losses, and gains, and grateful for each new day, for the opportunity to change and become better. A new life was waiting for me ahead, and I was going to live it so as not to feel excruciatingly painful for the years lived aimlessly, so that in the end, looking back, I could proudly say, yes, I did not live my life in vain. I made mistakes, gained experience, lost and found, loved, hated, forgave, was alive, real, and even though I lost my ex-wife, I gained something much more valuable, myself, the Ethan I always dreamed of being, honest, brave, magnanimous. And you know what? Damn it, it was worth it. So go for it, friends. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, fall and get up. The main thing is to never betray yourself. Remain human, no matter what happens. That's the secret of true happiness. Such is the sentimental finale of my little dirty story. Who would have thought, huh? But life is like that, unpredictable. You never know where it will lead you. All that remains is to trust fate and go with the flow, and where it takes us, we'll see. Yours, Ethan, ex-Avenger, former cuckold, and the current master of my own life. Did you like this story? Let us know in the comments what you liked. Subscribe to our storytelling podcast. Also, don't forget to like and ring the bell so you don't miss more interesting stories. See you soon.